Code enforcement meeting will come to order. Bobby, could you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Weeks?
I'm here.
Ms. Wade? Here. Mr. Kramer is absent.
No, he's absent.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Norfleet?
Here.
Telliar is absent and excused. Mrs. Archer? Here. Mr. Porfirio?
Here.
And Ms. Casey is absent. That does complete your roll call, sir.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes, you have a
Yes,
quorum.
you do.
Thank you. The board attorney will give us an invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand.
Our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this afternoon will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Code Enforcement Board Hearing Procedures. It is the intention of this board to promote, protect, and improve the safety, the health, and the welfare of the citizens of Tarpon Springs by providing an equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing various codes within the city of Tarpon Springs. Any aggravated party may appeal a final administrative order of this board to the circuit court. Such an appeal shall be filed in 30 days of the execution of the order being appealed. Statute 286.0105 requires any party appealing a decision of the board to have a record of the proceedings to support such an appeal. The procedure of the board is as follows. First, the city presents its witnesses and exhibits, after which the alleged violator is able to ask the city's witnesses any specific questions regarding their testimony. Secondly, the alleged violator is allowed to make a presentation and present his or her witnesses and exhibits. Then the city can question that alleged violator's witnesses. After both rounds of testimony, both by the city and by the alleged violator, each party is asked to give a closing argument, first by the city and then by the alleged violator. After those three steps have been taken, this board will close the public portion of the case to discuss it and take appropriate action. Before we begin public hearings, we ask that all potential witnesses stand up and be sworn in by the secretary of the board.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give us whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, at this time, I'd ask you to turn off or silence all cell phones. Thank you. We're going out of order a little bit today. The first, is that right?
First item is the election of chairperson.
First piece on the agenda is to identify a chairperson, somebody that's going to be here for a year.
Arlo.
I'd like to nominate Becky Archer. Second.
Okay?
Can I make a nomination now, or?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Julie Wade.
Second.
Okay.
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? All those in favor of?
Okay, we got two motions now. So there's a couple different ways that we can do this. My suggestion is that we do a written ballot vote. And when we do that, that basically means that you're picking either Ms. Wade or Ms. Archer as the chairperson for the upcoming year. And when we do that, we're going to have you initial or sign your vote because we have to make sure that that's available for the public. So do we have some pieces of paper down there, Bobby, that we can use?
Stand by. Here,
Sorry?
a couple lady knows.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pull out some paper, and, you got it?
Oh.
So if you could, we need, looks like we need 6 pieces of paper to vote on. And it just could be slips. We don't need a full piece. So what I'd like you to do is to do 2 things then. Write on it Archer or Wade, and then sign it, and then pass it down. I don't need that.
Pass it down to,
Why don't you pass it down to me, and I'll go ahead and do it, because Bobby is not here. Pass it down to me if you would. Make sure you sign them.
Y'all have to look the same on one another,
what? Here you are, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I've got the vote, so that your next chairperson will be Mrs. Wade. And so now that you've been elected as the chairperson, we need to have the chairpersons switch their seats, and then we'll go ahead and take nominations for vice mayor. So Ms. Wade and Mr. Weeks, if you could switch chairs and nameplates, that would be great. And thank you, Mr. Weeks, for a year of your direction.
Ventures.
Okay. Thank you.
I nominate Ms. Archer.
Okay, we need to get Mrs. Wade up here in their spot first. I'm gonna switch nameplates too. Julie, can you grab yours? Okay. We'll just switch out the bottom of the plate.
Yeah, that doesn't come out.
Okay, so I have a nomination, and the nomination was for Mrs. Archer as the vice chair. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Tim Robinson.
Okay, Mr. Robinson. And Ms. Archer. Any other nominations? Okay, we're gonna do a ballot vote again. Another piece of paper. We're gonna do the same thing again. If you could write on it either Archer or Robinson, and then sign it and hand it down to me. Okay. We're good.
You get this. So- Okay.
Okay, your vice chair for this coming year will be Mrs. Archer. Congratulations to both of you. Now that we've got the election out of the way, we can move right on to the next business item.
We're going to skip to, we're skipping to agenda item number 5.
5, 6, and 7. That order. Make you move again. luckily this time. But he can put my name out over
Stay
it.
there.
It's already getting me.
Musical chairs.
It's all right.
Oh, it's
For
so lovely.
Mr. Trask.
Okay,
Now you'll have to bear with me as I figure out what to do again. Thank you. Okay, this will be agenda item number 5, which is repeat violator, and the number is 19-800000812, Theodosis and Angie Panesis. Is anyone present for that agenda item? If you just join us up here, that'd be great. Thank you. I know it's hard to follow some of this, but the officer will ask if we can see his evidence. He'll present his case. You can ask him questions. Then you'll present your case, and we can ask questions. So that's,
okay, before we get started, can I have your name, ma'am, can I have your name, please?
Angie Panesis?
Okay, you're one of the owners of the property?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
and do you have any objection to the materials being submitted?
No.
Thank you.
All right. Officer Steve Gasson, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department Code Enforcement. Madam Chairman, this is case number 812, but 813 is also the next one on the agenda. They're two parcels that are adjoining each other, owned by the same people. So my case is basically going to be the same for both of them, and then how you guys decide to go from there. So starting out, this is a repeat violator case. Both of these are repeat violator cases from 17-800000380, which is a violation of City Code 840 and 852. This case is 19-800000812 for parcel number 112715877786 0120, and case number 813, the parcel number is the same except for the last 4 is 0130. Basically, all exhibit number 1 are all of my photographs. Exhibit number 2 are all of my notices, including the notice of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit number 3 are administrative documents, case summary, previous board orders, the property appraiser and tax collector records. Exhibit 4 is the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign, and exhibit number 5 is the affidavit of prosecution costs. All of my photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies as to what's being submitted to the board. All my notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent both first class as well as return receipt certified mail. And Madam Chairman, please accept all these exhibits into the record as evidence.
Thank you, Bobby. Oh,
What's her first
Crystal.
name? Your
Madam
first-
Secretary.
Crystal.
and Crystal, you'll accept those, please?
Okay, I'm just filling in till Michelle gets here, so,
Okay, so what's gonna happen is these documents, once they come down to you, you're just gonna hold them, and we're gonna mark them as evidence.
okay,
And so, they'll be down your way shortly.
okay.
Yeah, we can do both. Mr. Trasker, Madam Chairman, the photographs for the second case, 813, there's just one other photograph. Is it okay to bring those down now? So go ahead.
Vanessa's, they're adding one more photograph to the set. Thank you.
It's the second case.
Have you already seen those photographs?
Yes, I have. I've got them here.
Any objection to them being received into evidence?
No, not at all.
Okay.
All right, so the timelines are the same for both of these cases. So the initial inspection occurred on November 14th of this year. I was inspecting property directly to the east based on a citizen complaint and observed this property was also overgrown. These two parcels were overgrown. This area is in between Castle Terrace, Eunice Drive, south of Sunset Drive. There's some vacant lots there. We have had contact with the owner. She's contacted the office via phone calls. On November 14th, the repeat violator notice of hearing was mailed. There were no green cards returned. I conducted a reinspection on November 25th. It was in compliance. The whole lot was cleared. And at that time, we used the compliance date of November 22nd of 2019, because that's the date they advised that it was taken care of. I posted the property on November 27th. So the property was in violation from the date of the initial inspection on November 14th until November 22nd. And those were for being overgrown. The property was not being maintained. The grass was overgrown for that period of time. And the same for case number 813, the same time frame, November 14th to November 22nd. The same two code violations of 840 and 8-52, which is the duty to maintain private property and the requirements to mow and maintain it. And at this point, that's all the city has.
Board have any questions of the city staff? I had one question. When this was previously visited by us, what fine was assessed?
The previous fine was $50. It was given $50 per day. They complied before their deadline, and they did pay their prosecution costs, so they have nothing outstanding at this point.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Officer Gasson?
No.
Then you get your turn to present your case.
Okay. The property was in violation, I will agree with that. But I just want to give you a little bit of backstory.
Can you pull the microphone close to you so that we can all hear? Just pull the whole thing right up close. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear?
Yes.
My husband and I were out of town. Prior to my husband leaving, he left in October, I had left earlier, he paid our yard man to go ahead and maintain the lots. And he pays him every month to maintain our home and the 2 lots. Unbeknownst to us, the yard man didn't go by. When I returned home on November 11th, I received this notice on the 20th. And when I called on the 22nd to say, hey, we're fine, but, you know, I didn't get this until the 20th. So my husband was arriving back home on the 20th. That evening, he came home. My husband was tired. It was a long trip. I didn't say anything. He went to sleep. The next morning, I said, look, we got this. So he made arrangements to rent some equipment after he tried calling the lawn person when we found out he wasn't home. He wasn't here. And my son went with him on the 22nd, and they took care of I called Beth and advised her on the 22nd, hey, we took care of the lots, but I didn't get this until the 20th. So I was really concerned about being in violation from the 14th to the 22nd at possibly $500 a day. And so anyway, so basically, that's my story. We have somebody who takes care of the lots. He went out of town because he occasionally goes out on salvage ships and does salvage. And I'm assuming that's where he's at. We know he's not here. His wife hasn't said anything, so I would ask also that we not be charged those fines because they'd be an extreme hardship. And as far as, we didn't receive the certified mail at all. I just received these 2. I didn't get it and not sign it, and he didn't come to the door to ask me to sign anything. So that cost maybe can be taken off. Maybe the city should get a credit from the post office of $16 since the post office never did what they were supposed to do. I don't know, just get a credit for it, so.
Thank you.
We took care of it as soon as we could, and as soon as I could do it was when my husband got home, because I came home early, because my dog was in kidney failure, so I had to put her down on the 13th, and after that, you know, my concern, or I never even thought of, let me go by the lots and see how they're doing. I don't,
So you were here on the 13th?
I came back on the 11th,
Okay.
on the 11th. But I went straight to the hospital where my dog was.
Does the board have any questions of this witness? Does the city have?
I do not.
Can you summarize the case for us, please?
Briefly, as I stated, and we've discussed this numerous times before in Code Board, regardless of, especially with the repeat violator, doesn't matter when they get the notice, it's their responsibility to take care of the property. I did the inspection on the 14th just because I had another complaint on another property, so, and we did comply it as soon as the property owners advised us it was. So the 14th was the beginning of it, and the 22nd was the compliance date for that repeat violator period of time.
Thank you. Unless anyone has any questions, we're ready to close the public portion of the,
Summarize.
she can summarize also?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I understand that it was in violation on the 14th. I had to euthanize my pup on the 13th. I was a bit of a mess after that. Not that I probably would have gone by the lots anyway, because I know we have a yard man, and I've assumed he had taken care of it. I was only made aware of it when I got this in the mail on the 20th. And then we took care of it on the 22nd. That's
Now
it.
the public portion of the case is closed, and I'm ready to entertain a motion, or if the board has any questions or comments.
Motion first before we discuss it.
Okay?
Did you say that, they paid the city? You mentioned,
Previously, there was prosecution costs on the previous case, and those fines were paid, or those costs
Now
were
this-
paid. But they have not been levied any fines by the city.
I'm lost here.
So this is a repeat violation. If you have your form motions, you would go to the motion relating to repeat violations.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I move that based on the testimony, evidence, and presented in the law, that the respondent was in violation of Section 8-40 and 8-52 of the Tarpon Springs City Code from 11/14 until 11/27, and a fine of $50 a day
7/22nd.
per day for 13 days is $650. In addition, I move that the city be awarded $69.50 for the costs incurred in prosecuting the case.
Before we do a second, let's do the math on that. Well, first
Can
of
I
all,
just say
two
one more
properties-
thing?
First of all,
Ma'am? So you need a second before you can discuss it. We need a second, and then you can discuss if you need to make any changes to it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I understand that the date of compliance was the 22nd, not the 27th. So that would change the numbers considerably.
Mhm.
two properties that are
22nd,
We're going to do one motion for each property.
sorry, 22nd. I'll amend the motion to be the 11/22nd of November. That's going to bring my days down.
that'll bring it to 8 days.
$400.
$400. Okay, the motion is amended to 11/22, and also the full amount at $50 a day is $400. We still have the $69 prosecution costs.
Second.
It's been seconded
The motion has been made and seconded
and amended.
and
Oh,
amended.
Yeah,
Amended and
Clerk,
seconded.
please call the
and
roll.
seconded.
Whatever.
I just got here, so you got
Okay, so-
1 second.
Mr.
Mr.
Perfidio?
Perfidio? Ms. Tellier is absent. Mr. Perfidio, yes or no on the motion?
Yes.
Ms. Archer?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
May I ask, are we voting on the
Amended motion?
amended motion? Okay,
Right.
yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer is absent. So Ms. Wade is chair now?
Yes?
Okay, Mr. Weeks
Yes.
and Ms. Wade.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion carried. So,
We need an additional motion for that second property, which was 18-800-00813.
correct.
If If anyone would like to make a motion for that one.
I move that based on testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that the respondents were in violation of sections 840 and 852 of the Tarpon Springs City Code from November 14th to November 22nd, and a fine of $50 per day be levied. In addition, I move that the city be awarded $61.50 for the costs incurred in prosecuting the case.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Would you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. Perfidio?
Yes.
Ms. Archer? Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Chair Wade?
Yes.
Can I summarize?
Ma'am, an order will be issued within 10 days and mailed to you. And if you have any questions, you can contact the code board.
Code enforcement officer after the meeting. Okay?
We're done?
Thank you.
Well, no thank you.
Thanks for coming anyway. Next case. We did 5 and 6. We're going to look for case number 7. This is item number 19-800-00818-715 East Lime Street. Lime Street Properties Incorporated. Is someone here to represent that? Please come to the microphone and identify yourselves and your relationship to the property.
Can you hear me? Gladiola Mihai, the manager, property manager.
Could you repeat your name, please?
Gladiola,
Gladiola.
Gladiola, and the last name Mihai, Mihaj.
And you, ma'am?
Gabriela Montes, Regional Manager.
Spell the last name?
Montes, M-O-N-T-E-S.
M-O-N-D?
M-O-N-T-E-S.
T. Thank you. If the city has evidence to present, do you have any legal objection to that evidence being presented for us?
No.
If you'll receive that when it comes down to you, please. And the officer's going to present the case.
Thank you. Officer Steve Gasson, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department Code Enforcement. This is a repeat violator case for the address 715 East Lime Street, commonly known as Tarpon Wood Lake Apartments. It's a repeat violator case previously from case 17-800000393, which were a violation of City Codes 822, 840, and 852. Also a repeat violator case from 18-800000481, City Codes 822, 840, and 852. Case before the board today is 19-800000818. Exhibit number 1 going before the board are all of my photographs. Exhibit number 2, all of my notices of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit number 3, administrative documents, case summary, previous board orders, property appraiser and tax collector records. Exhibit number 4 is affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. And exhibit number 5 is an affidavit of prosecution costs. All the photographs and exhibits are given to the violator, exact copies of what's being presented to the board. All of my notices are mailed to the property owner of record based on the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearings are sent both first class as well as return receipt requested. And Madam Chair, will you please accept these records these exhibits into the record as evidence?
Thank you.
You already did.
Okay, thanks. We have had contact with the property management, and actually, I think the owner via email, but we've had the property manager come into our office, and she's been very helpful with this process. The case started on November 15th. You have to understand that Tarpon Wood Lake Apartments is directly on the north side of the police department, so it's very visible. They have a chain link fence surrounding it, and their dumpster areas back up to Walton and Lime Street. So every police officer in the city seize their property on a daily basis. And that happened to be the case on November 15th. I drove by, saw a large amount of furniture stacked out by the dumpster. That would be on the southwest corner. The dumpster on the northwest corner had mattresses shoved behind it in between the fence and the dumpster enclosure and some other general debris. That's what started the whole case on November 15th. We mailed out the repeat violator notice of hearing. We received the green cards, and as I stated, we have had contact with the folks from the property owner. Conducted the reinspection on November 27th or November 22nd, and it was in compliance. Gladiola, I think, had contacted our office on November 20th, so same as before, we used November 20th as our compliance date. On November 27th, I posted the property and signed the affidavit. And as I stated, they're in violation of the city codes, 8-22, accumulation of trash, 8-40, the duty to maintain private property, and 8-52, in this case, not has to do with lawn mowing, but debris, old furniture, things like that kind of classify as such. And that was a period of time of 5 days, November 15th to November 20th. And that's all the city has at this point.
I'm going to ask the board if they have any questions of the city staff. As a repeat violator, what fine was previously established?
Previously, they were fined $50 a day for both. They did pay their fines and prosecution costs from their previous cases.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And I'm sorry, add one last thing. I said in the conversations we've had with them, their situation's a little unique. They are fenced in, but the whole world seems to like to use their property as a dump, and I know where we all stand on those things. They had, on this particular instance, I guess, what they investigated, and they'll probably discuss, I guess, one of the rental furniture places actually decided to dump their furniture at their dumpster, which was a little unique, although they had been pretty good about maintaining the property, but it seemed like there was a period in the last few weeks, and I actually kind of let this one ride a little bit before I did the notice to kind of hope that they maybe would take care of it. Unfortunately, it didn't. So, but those are just some circumstances, but it still doesn't change the fact that they have a roamer that kind of goes around to keep track of the property. So.
Questions of city staff? Thank you. Then you get to present your side of the case.
I agree with the officer with everything he said. Unfortunately, it was Buddy's company that dropped. We kind of, our tenants saw them do it, so I contacted their manager. I said, you cannot do this. This is, making us pretty much in trouble. Our dumpsters are full, so we had to take all that furniture and put it actually in a vacant apartment, just to take it out of his site, let's put it that way. But at that time, it just happened one maintenance guy, and he spends 2 or 3 hours every day cutting these mattresses and these furnitures that are not even ours. So having one guy, we cannot spend 8 hours cutting every day. Now what we do, the first thing we do, put it in an empty apartment, then little by little we cut it and we get rid of them.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions of the owner? Does the city staff?
I have nothing.
I do have a question. You do go around and check the property?
Yes,
have someone
we
do
do
it?
that every morning. Unfortunately, there was so much furniture, like there were 3 sets of couches. So we're like, have one guy, he could not carry. I asked for help. After that, they did
Took
send
him a
it,
while.
but I had one guy that there's nothing he could have done. He couldn't cut it to put it in the dumpster because then we would have garbage around. I couldn't put it in an empty apartment, so I went to talk to the officer. He was very helpful. I'm like, what do you suggest? I don't know what else to do. If the police will help me, and he recommended you guys can put cameras. Other than that, they cannot stop everybody because they don't have no way of knowing that they don't live there. So it's kind of, I understand that point as well, but it's nothing we can do, especially on Mondays, it's the worst. Like, you come in and it's, we
Yeah,
have to
because
go
they
3
have the
hours.
whole weekend and they drop the stuff. And like he said, we try, and since our company bought the property, it looks better. You can drive there and you can see the difference every day. And like she say, we was short of staff. We only have one maintenance that we use like 2 to 3 hours trying to cut it little by little to put it in the dumpster because we don't want to have any problem with the city. And we're trying to keep our property clean.
How long, do you have any idea how long those Publix shopping carts have been sitting there?
And we do have a problem with that as well, and I did mention that to the officer as well. And I said, I have called Walmart, I have called Publix. He goes, next time they don't pick it up, you call me, that will be my next. Walmart did pick theirs, but on the side, it's actually kind of illegal, but we're close to AutoZone, and every shopping cart is there, and then we push it on that side. And I told him, either put it to the police station or I pushed it there, but I don't know what to do with that. Like, I said, you're gonna catch me every morning pushing those carts, so I'm like, I did it, but I don't know what to do with the shopping carts. It's illegal to throw them away. They will take so much time, so much
They look brand new.
dumpsters, and Publix will not pick them up. Walmart has been better since I've talked to him. Walmart has picked them up, but the Publix, it's still 10 carts there or more.
I don't have any questions, thank you, though.
I'll ask you to summarize your case, please.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? The public portion of the case is now closed. The board, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I move, based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented, and the law, that the respondent was in violation of 8-22, 8-40, and 8-52 of the Tarpon Springs City Code from the date of November the 15th until the date of November the 20th, and a fine of $50 a day for 5 days for $250. In addition, I move that the city be able to be awarded the prosecution cost of $61.50 for the cost incurred prosecuting the case.
$77.50. $77.50.
What?
The prosecution costs.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. I'm sorry. $77.50. I read the wrong one.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Perfidio?
Yes.
Ms. Archer?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
No.
Chair Wade?
Yes. She didn't ask
Motion
Mr.
carries.
Did you get Mr. Weeks?
He said no.
No.
Said
Mr.
yes.
Robinson said
I
no.
haven't
Oh,
said
I'm
yet. You're close, though.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Weeks, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Wade, yes?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Now, yes.
Okay, so the property owner has been found in violation of sections 8-22, 8-40, and 8-52. The Code Enforcement Board has levied a fine of $50 a day for the 5 days it was in noncompliance, as well as awarded the city prosecution costs of $77.50. There'll be an order entered within the next 10 days. It'll be mailed to the property owner at the address listed by the tax collector. If you have any questions after today's meeting, you can talk to the Code Enforcement Officer after the meeting or call tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If she can.
Now I think we're going to return to the first page and item number 2. This is a repeat violator. It's case number 19-8000788, 42501 US Highway 19, Walmart Stores East LP. Does anyone here represent the property?
Nope.
Then I think we can see your evidence, and you can accept that into the record when it comes down your way, please. Thank you.
Ready?
You can go ahead.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Officer Steve Gaston, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department Code Enforcement. This is another repeat violator case. The cases stem from 18-8000491, which were violations of City Code 822, 840, 852.
The current case is 19-800000788. The property is addressed as 42501 US Highway 19, although it is an 85-acre vacant lot. It's known as the Walmart property between the bridges on the east side of US 19. The parcel number is 062716893880000420. Exhibit number 1, going before the board, are all of my photographs. Exhibit number 2, notice of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit number 3 are administrative documents, the case summary, the previous board orders, and the property appraiser and tax collector records. An affidavit of the posting and a copy of the sign are exhibit number 4. And exhibit number 5 is the affidavit of prosecution costs. All of my notices are sent to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent return receipt as well as first-class mail. And you've already accepted these into the record as evidence, so thank you. We have had contact with the owners, the representatives from Walmart, as well as their property management company, a company called Dentco. My initial inspection was on November 1st, 2019. There was a large amounts of trash, debris, human waste, et cetera, on the property as a result of trespassers. This was on the southern side of the property. There is not a fence there. This particular area, if you go where Carl Flammer Ford is, there's the little Pinellas Trail, and it goes under US 19. So basically at that turn where the Pinellas Trail goes to the west under US 19, it's the property that's north of the trail there, right there. The interesting thing is we contacted a number of trespassers, started the process of removing them based on a police complaint. That night, there was a brush fire in which our district chief's fire truck was hit. The Tahoe was hit as a result of the people back in the woods setting fire to the trees back there. So that case started, we kicked everybody out, and then they set fire to the woods, so we're dealing with that. But they left behind a large amount of trash and debris. We sent out the notices on November 4th. The repeat violator notice of hearing was mailed. The green cards were returned to the office, signed. I conducted a reinspection on November 26th and put it into compliance using the date of November 25th. I posted the property on November 27th, and as I stated, the property was in violation from November 1st of 2019 until November 25th of 2019 for violations of City Codes 8-22, 8-40, and 8-52. For what it's worth, the folks took nearly 2 days and 4 truckloads to remove this property. This is the second time that Walmart's removed in excess of, I think, 2 tons of trash dumped on their property. They are trying, as a little bit in, not really in defense, but they have now, based on this case, they've hired a company that's gonna monitor their property at least once a week, a security company to go out and try to keep the litter bugs off their property. This is also the second time, and these code cases have resulted in a fire, and that's why we're kind of on this so much with that property, because as you can appreciate, the southern side of their property borders a mobile home park. The eastern side of their property ends up with county property, but it's Sail Harbor, rather large houses. North side's the river, and the west side is US 19, which is not so much of a fire hazard. But we've had 2 significant brush fires on that property, so that's why we're trying to keep them in check with that property before it becomes a massive issue and potentially burns up some homes or whatnot. So that's all the city has at this point.
Does the board have any questions of city staff? I misheard. Your original date was 11/1 or 11/4?
My initial inspection was on 11/1,
Okay.
and then we mailed the notices out on 11/4.
So for how many days were they out of compliance?
They were out of compliance November 1st and November 25th, 24 days.
And previous fines that were
$50
levied?
per day. They did comply by their deadline, and as of right now, the note states the prosecution costs have not been paid
And-
from their previous case.
And that fine was?
They weren't levying any fines, it was just prosecution costs of,
Okay.
I imagine, probably less than $200.
Okay. Anyone else have questions of city staff?
How many days did you say? 24?
24, November 1st to November 25th.
unless anybody has any questions you need to summarize, or is that pretty much
I think that summarizes it.
much as it? Ready, the public portion of the case is closed. I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I will. I move that based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that the respondent was in violations of sections 822, City Code 8-40, and City Code 8-52 of the city code from November 1st until November 25th, and a fine of $75 per day for 24 days, or a fine of $1,800. Does that add up right? In addition, I move that the city be awarded $77.50 for the cost that incurred in prosecuting the case.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion from the board?
Yeah. Would you consider a fine of $100 a day instead of 75 on your,
Yes, if that's what the board wants, that'd be fine.
Comments from other board members? This is their first fine, correct?
no.
Second.
Second, they was ordered, but they complied before the fines were
Complied
levied.
before,
Yes.
okay.
But they haven't paid.
They just didn't pay their prosecution costs from the previous case, correct?
Would you like to amend your motion?
You do, he doesn't do it? Okay, I'll amend the motion from $1,800, what would that be?
2,500.
20, I'm sorry, yes.
$200 a day for $2,500,
$2,400.
$2,400.
Yeah.
Yes, 24 days.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Perfidio?
Yes.
Ms. Archer?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Chair Wade?
Yes. Summarize if there's nobody here to summarize for.
That's right.
Cases 3 and 4 have been deferred. This puts us to affidavits of noncompliance. Item number 8 on your agenda.
I would note that there's no one in the audience for this particular agenda item. We just need a motion to accept the affidavit of noncompliance.
Based on the testimony, evidence, and facts presented in law, that the respondents failed to timely comply with the board's prior order within the time prescribed, and to award the city, there's no, okay, no prosecution cost.
Second.
She's just saying that there's no prosecution cost, so basically the motion to approve the affidavit of noncompliance.
Okay.
Do we need a second?
Do I hear a second?
I heard a second. Yes, it was me.
Okay. Mr. Weeks seconded. And does this require a voice vote?
You can do a voice vote on this. All in favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 9 will be similar, except it's an affidavit of compliance. There's no
Actually,
one here for that
I'm just going to say one
case.
thing. Pay very close attention to the address. This was a long process for this one. This is 1422 Silver Oak, and it finally came into compliance. So it was a lot of work from 2000 and, well, before I started here. So I just wanted you guys to note that that was the culmination of this board's work.
Thank you. I need to accept this into the,
So we need a motion to accept the affidavit of compliance.
anybody would like to make such a motion?
To award, Steve?
No, it was handled in the previous case.
I'm sorry. I move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to award. There's no fine.
No prosecution costs.
No prosecution costs incurred in prosecuting the case. No prosecute. Okay, so let me say it again. I move to accept the affidavit of compliance.
This is in case 16-800000128.
Correct.
Second?
Voice vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 10, 19-800000317, a vacant lot on Lincoln, parcel 132715 67896 0000110, Craig Fowler Jr. And so anybody like to make a motion, please?
I move to accept the affidavit of compliance.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business. We have minutes from October and November to approve, unless anyone has corrections or additions to make to those minutes. Let's do them separately. Could I have a motion to approve October minutes?
I don't know if I was here then.
You're on the
Motion
board
to
now.
approve October minutes?
Is there a first?
There was a motion made by Mrs. Archer.
Is there a second?
Ben, who
Tim
gives-
seconded. Mr. Robinson seconded it.
Okay, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And for the November minutes, anybody have any corrections, additions? Then let's hear a,
Motion to approve minutes for November?
Second.
either one of them. they both
Mr.
did.
Robinson?
Either one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments following today's meeting. Want to thank everybody for coming.
Board? What about
I
board
just have,
comments?
well, I'm in the staff comments, though.
Board and staff comments, too.
Board and staff comments.
Just so you guys understand the prosecution costs, because it seemed like there was some confusion. You know, previously, we award those in some of the cases, so the affidavits of compliance and non-compliance don't necessarily have prosecution costs on them, because they were already handled previously. The Silver Oak case was prior to us implementing prosecution costs. That didn't occur, I think, until like 2018. So any of the previous cases, we didn't do that with. So just so you understand, you may see them with or without, but it's the nuance of the case and at what point in time those prosecution costs were applied. So that's all.
That's nice.
Other than that, Merry Christmas.
That on the record. Thank you.
And you're welcome for the short agenda.
Merry Christmas to you. If there's nothing.
I have a comment. What's going on with all these carts that are all over the city? And
We-
they're
we
Winn-Dixie, or, you know,
We did enact an ordinance, a shopping cart ordinance in the city. It took a period of time to implement. We are in the process now of getting all the contact information. They had to mark their carts, they had to comply with certain things. They had to put a plan together, they had to have a period of time to present that plan, and it had to be accepted by the city. And we're at the point now where we have the contacts for the individual businesses. As these folks can attest to, they contacted Walmart because they all have to have their name and phone number on the carts. And they're now required to come and collect their stuff as part of their retrieval plan. As moving forward with that, we're gonna begin to start contacting them and creating cases and sending notice of violations for their carts. But we had to have all the pieces in place first, and we're just about there. I think shortly after the first of the year, we're gonna probably be sending out some notices to the businesses that are not retrieving their carts and following their the difference is sometimes the violations aren't at the address of the business, like 715 East Lime Street, the violation's on their property, so I have to do some interesting work with the case addresses and things like that, and that's an internal thing, but it takes a little bit of time to work out. So, but we should be coming to a resolution with that very quickly.
that'd be great.
And a fine to the businesses is part of the new city ordinance?
The Yes, because it's not the property, they are the property owner of the cart, although that might not be the property that the cart is on.
Yes.
If that makes sense. So yes, we will be violating the correct folks in an attempt to not, and in their case, which I know we've talked about, but they didn't get violated for the shopping carts. There was other things. So the shopping carts are a separate issue. I can't hold them to that at this point since we have the ordinance in place. So.
Be helpful to them in the
Although
future
it's
as well.
still kind of stinks that they all get dumped there. They happen to be right next door to Publix and Walmart.
Yep,
And half of their tenants probably walk. So
yes.
it's just circumstance for them. Or blessed, yes.
If no one else has any more, the meeting's adjourned.